All right, hello. Welcome to our Paying for College session. Today, we're dive into the transfer financial aid offer review and kind of what that all looks like here at Iowa State. My name is Isaac Ehlers, and I'm a Senior Assistant Director in the Office of Student Financial Aid, and I'll really be walking you through this presentation today. At any point during our presentation today, please feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to ask any of your financial aid or admissions related questions. We have staff from both the Office of Student Financial Aid and the Office of Admissions ready to assist with any questions that you have throughout this presentation today. So first off, starting with financial aid terminology. So just understanding some of the different terms or words we use within the financial aid kind of realm, so that when you are starting to look at your financial aid award, some of those words make a little bit more sense. So first, starting with cost of attendance. Cost of attendance is the estimate of the cost of being enrolled for one academic year at Iowa State University. The cost of attendance includes things like tuition and fees, food, housing, books, course materials, supplies, equipment, transportation, and personal expenses. So when it comes to the cost of attendance, just keep in mind, again, this is an estimate of those costs for one academic year. Actual individual student costs may vary based off of students' lifestyles, majors, academic colleges, or academic progress. Tuition and fees, so that's part of your cost of attendance. Tuition includes the cost of your courses taken while you're enrolled here at Iowa State University. Fees includes our mandatory fees, which are the activity and service fee, which covers things like SciRide, rec services, rec centers, the MU, student organizations, concerts, athletic events. All of those things are wrapped into that activity and service fee. Then we have the health facility fee and the health fee, which both go to support the operations of our student health center here on campus, as well as covering the cost of office visits at the TLIB Student Health Center. And then our technology fee goes to cover things like student email, student information systems, learning management softwares, Wi-Fi across campus. All of those things are wrapped into that technology fee. What you will see on your cost of attendance when you view your financial aid award is that your tuition fees will be based off of an estimate of full-time enrollment, which is 12 credit hours or more. So here at Iowa State, if you take 12 credit hours, 15, 18 credit hours, etc., you're charged one flat rate for those credits. If you take less than 12 credit hours, then you would see a prorated amount of tuition and fees based off of your enrollment. Food and housing. So food and housing are estimates of what it may cost to live on or off campus, depending on a student's housing choice. If your student plans to live on campus, actual costs would vary depending on the student's individual housing assignment and their meal plan choice. If a student is planning to live off campus, they would not be assessed for the food and housing charges by the university. However, that is still factored into their cost of attendance to allow them to utilize financial aid to help pay some of those off-campus expenses if they need to. Books, course materials, supplies, and equipment. So this kind of incorporates every other expense you would have for your academic-related courses. Here at Iowa State, we have a program called Immediate Access One, which is a digital-first, flat-rate course material program. So with this program, which is brand new for the fall semester, students will pay a flat fee of $259, and that will cover all of their academic materials for the full academic year, or for the academic semester, sorry. So that will, all of their textbooks, any like professor lab manuals, things like that, all of that will be included within that Immediate Access One cost. We also still add in an allowance for other materials, supplies, or equipment within kind of this budget area in the cost of attendance. So if students need to buy supplies for an art class or things like that, they have that built into their cost of attendance as well. But again, the actual cost may vary by term for kind of those other materials, supplies, and equipment. You can learn more about the Immediate Access One program at the link at the bottom of the screen through the ISU bookstore. They do have all of the information about how that program will work, as well as how you could opt out of that program if you decide you do not want to participate with the Immediate Access 1 program. Transportation and personal expenses. So these are estimates of what it may cost for just other daily living expenses during your time here at Iowa State for the academic year. So these are expenses that you would not be assessed by Iowa State University, but we kind of build that into your cost of attendance to allow you to utilize financial aid to help pay some of these costs. These are things like laundry, subscription services, personal vehicle parking, gas, etc., prescriptions, personal hygiene items, or any other daily costs. So again, when you're thinking about your financial aid, these are maybe things you want to budget your financial aid to apply for, or you may not, depending on your individual circumstances. Moving into a little bit more on the financial aid type of things. So grants. Grants are a type of financial aid that are going to be considered free money, so they do not need to be repaid. And grants are typically awarded based off of having financial need, as demonstrated on your FAFSA or that free application for federal student aid. So again, based off of your FAFSA results, if you just exhibit financial need, you may be considered for grant funding. And that money, again, is free money, so it's automatically applied towards your university bill. And again, those funds do not need to be repaid. Next, we have scholarships. So scholarships are similar to grants. They are still a type of financial aid. They are also considered free money, and scholarships also do not need to be repaid. But scholarships may be awarded based off of a student having or exhibiting financial need from that FAFSA, or they may be based off of academic merit, so GPA, ACT scores, things like that. Or scholarships could be based off of a combination of both financial need and academic merit. Here at Iowa State, we have the One App, which is our scholarship application. This is what students use to apply for the majority of scholarships at Iowa State University. Scholarships awarded through the One App application are competitive, and students are not always going to be guaranteed they will receive a scholarship from the One App. Subsidized loans are a federal student loan program. These loans are going to be considered need-based. So students do have to exhibit, again, financial need based off of that FAFSA. And subsidized loans are interest-free while the student is enrolled at least half-time, which is 6 credit hours. Repayment on the subsidized loan begins 6 months after a student graduates or drops below half-time enrollment. So when it comes to the subsidized loan, there is no interest again while the student is enrolled, and then they would start repayment 6 months after they have left school. The unsubsidized loan is still a federal loan, but this is a non-need-based federal loan. So you still have to file the FAFSA in order to be eligible to receive an unsubsidized loan. However, you do not need to exhibit any sort of financial need in order to utilize this loan. The unsubsidized loans do have interest that accumulates while the student is enrolled, but no payments are required while the student is in school. So with the unsubsidized loan, again, the interest will accumulate while the student is enrolled, but they are not required to make any sort of payment while in school. Just like the subsidized loan, repayment on the unsubsidized loan begins 6 months after graduation or dropping below, again, that half-time enrollment requirement. So now that we've talked a little bit about just the different types of financial aid available, next we'll move into your financial aid offer. So all students can view their financial aid offer through their Admissions My Account portal. So this is available now. You will log into your Admissions My Account portal. On the Up Next section, you will select the financial aid option. Once you click into financial aid, it will then populate what you're kind of seeing on the right-hand side of the screen here, and it'll say receipt of your FAFSA, so it will show when you filed your FAFSA and when did Iowa State receive that FAFSA. And then right below that, it will show your financial aid offer. So from there, you'll select View My Financial Aid Offer, and that will open up your financial aid offer from Iowa State University. The very first part of this screen will show you what is your estimated cost of attendance by semester. So here it will show what we're estimating you could see for things like your tuition, your fees, food and housing, books, course materials, supplies and equipment, your transportation expenses, personal expenses, all of that kind of gives you that good estimate of what some of those charges may look like. Then at the very bottom, it'll have your estimated cost of attendance per semester, and then even below that a little bit further, what that kind of total cost of attendance is for the academic year. Up here on the slide, these are just example costs. Your actual cost, what you see reflected in your Admissions My Account, will vary based off of your individual student. Right below your cost of attendance on that financial aid offer will then display your financial aid options. So it will show any grants, scholarships, any work study funding, federal loan eligibility, all of that will be displayed here. And then it will show you how much you're expecting to get for the fall semester, how much you would expect to receive for the spring semester, and then how much you could expect for the full academic year. So once you've kind of gone out and taken a look at your financial aid offer and looked at the different financial aid that is offered to you, then you really need to move into thinking about how do you determine what your out-of-pocket costs may look like here at Iowa State. So really thinking about after all of your financial aid applies, what would you still potentially owe to Iowa State University? So to help you out with determining those out-of-pocket costs, we've developed what we call the expense estimator, which is available on our website at financialaid.iastate.edu/expense. On this website, you'll be able to use our expense estimator tool, which will essentially generate a best estimate of your university bill prior to the official university bill being available on August 1st. So again, if you're looking at getting an idea of what are you going to be billed by Iowa State, you can go out and use the expense estimator to give you that good estimate prior to the official bill being available in August. So when you log out or head out to this website, you'll click the estimate button down at the bottom of the screen. And this will take you into our expense estimator, just asking some basic student information questions. So first, starting with the residency status, it will ask, are you an Iowa resident or a non-Iowa resident? And then it'll bring in your credits. So are you planning to take 12 credit hours or more? If so, you'd select 12. If you're thinking you're going to take less than 12 credit hours, you could select a lower amount if you desired. Then you'll select your classification status. So are you a first-year student, a sophomore, junior, senior, grad student, vet med student, etc.? So this is not only helpful for this upcoming academic year here at Iowa State, but for all future academic years as well. Once you've selected your classification status, then you can select your area of study. So you'll select that drop down. It'll have a list of different majors listed. If your major is listed, you would select your individual major. If your major is not listed, you would just select the standard undergraduate option. Same with the tech fee, that's the next field down on the screen. Again, if you would select that drop down, and if your major is listed, you would select that option. If your major is not listed, again, select standard undergraduate. Once you've entered in your student information, then you can move into your housing preference or housing information. So first, you'll be able to select your housing type. So if you're planning to live in a residence hall, university apartment, or if you're planning to live off campus. If you plan to live off campus, it'll kind of just zero out any housing costs because, again, the expense estimator is just estimating costs that you could expect to be billed by Iowa State. So for this example, we're going to select university apartments. Then it'll ask you just some basic information about your building name. So which building do you think you're going to live in or plan to live in? Your room type. So for apartments, it'll ask if it's a 2-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, whatever the case. If you're selecting residence hall, it's going to ask, are you planning to live in a single or a double? Then your room features. So kind of that's going to vary based off of your housing type. So if it's a traditional residence hall, it's going to be asking, looking at if it's a non-AC or AC residence hall. If it's an apartment, it's looking at how many people are planning to live in that apartment. And then your meal plan at the bottom will allow you to select what type of meal plan options that you are potentially thinking about utilizing here at Iowa State. There is also an option where you can select no meal plans. If you do not plan to use a meal plan, you can again select that no meal plan option, and that will kind of not count those costs for you as well. Once you've kind of entered in your housing information, then you will enter in your financial information. So again, this is where you would want to take your financial aid offer from your Admissions My account and kind of move those numbers or type those numbers into the expense estimator. Those numbers aren't going to flow through automatically since this is an open form. However, you can just go in and type the amounts for each aid that you're receiving. There are the little plus buttons on kind of that right-hand side of the screen. So if you need to add additional lines because you need to add additional scholarships or things like that, you can press that plus button to add more lines so that you can enter all of your different financial aid. Once you've entered in all of your financial aid options, you'll click the Estimate button at the very bottom of the screen. And that will take you into kind of, again, our simulated university bill of how much you could be expected to be billed each semester by Iowa State, how much financial aid would apply for each semester, and then kind of what you have left over. So kind of at the sort of the top in the estimated totals, you'll see kind of a number listed. And that is essentially showing you how much are you still projected to owe for an individual semester. So really when you're looking at fall and spring, in this made up example, this student would owe about $600 for the full academic year to pay all of their remaining costs. Again, this is kind of going to give you that best estimate of all of your costs for each semester, so you can see what do you think you could expect to be billed for things like tuition, fees, housing. All of that will give you those best estimates. And then again, your financial aid, what that's going to look like applying towards those costs each semester. Once you've gone through this and you've determined what are those out-of-pocket costs or how much are you still going to owe for the academic year, then it's time to kind of start thinking about what are the ways to cover those remaining expenses. The first way you could choose to cover your remaining out-of-pocket costs are payment options. So you could choose to pay your balance in full each semester. So whatever you owe for fall or whatever you owe for spring, you could choose to pay that full balance out of pocket. If you chose that option, you would just want to make sure that fall balance is paid by August 20th, and then your spring balance would be due January 20th. We also do offer what's called deferred billing, where it essentially breaks down your semester balance into 3 installment payments. So let's say for one semester you owe $3,000. You could take that $3,000 and divide that equally into 3 payments, one in August, one in September, one in October, and then in the spring it'd be one in January, one in February, one in March. So you could again break that semesterly balance into 3 smaller payments. If you choose to use the deferred billing plan, there is a $20 fee to utilize that plan, and that $20 fee is paid with your second installment. To learn more about the payment options available at Iowa State University, you can visit ubill.iastate.edu, which is the link at the bottom of the screen, and that will give you more information about these payment options. If you are also thinking about using a 529 or a college savings plan, you would find more information about how to use those on the UBIL website as well. Another option you could think about utilizing to help cover some of your outstanding costs would be a Parent Plus loan. The Parent Plus loans are a federal loan that are available to parents of dependent undergraduate students to assist with the student's educational related expenses. So this loan is a credit-based loan, so a parent borrower must pass a credit check in order to utilize this loan. The parent is the borrower of this loan, and the parent is responsible to repay the loan. So this loan cannot be transferred into a student's name. It is always the parent's responsibility to repay. Parents can start applying for this loan online at studentaid.gov/plus-app. And that actually just opened up today. So if it is something that you are looking at pursuing, you would start being able to apply for the PLUS loan at any point that you decide that you want to pursue that option. Another option you could choose to utilize to help pay for your educational related expenses would be a private education loan. These loans are also credit-based, and with these loans, it can be the parent or the student as the borrower. So if the student is going to be the borrower of this loan, most of the time they will require a credit-worthy cosigner, as most students don't have enough credit history built up to take out a loan on their own. These loans are funded by third-party lenders, so they are not private loans, or not federal loans, they are private loans. So they're made by banks, credit unions, national lenders, things like that. There are hundreds of different private education loan lenders out there. On our website, we do have a list of lenders that help you kind of start that search. So if you don't know where to start, you can start with our website as kind of your starting ground, looking at some of those lenders and seeing what kind of options they offer. You are not required to use the lenders that are on our website, but we offer those just, again, as a starting place. We also recommend you check with maybe your local bank or your local credit union to see if they offer or recommend any specific products as well. So kind of when you're looking at your ways to pay your out-of-pocket costs that your financial aid is not covering, you have your payment options through the U-Bill office, you have the Parent Plus loan options, and then you have private education loans. So kind of those are your three sort of ways to cover any out-of-pocket costs that you would still have that your financial aid does not potentially cover from what you're billed by Iowa State. Next, we're going to talk just a little bit about student employment here at Iowa State. So first is our work study. So if a student is receiving work study on their financial aid award, that means that they were awarded this need-based student employment program. So again, it's need-based. So based off of that free application for federal student aid or your FAFSA, you would have to exhibit some sort of financial need in order to receive work study funding. And then if a student has work study on their award, they would then go through and find a work study job on campus. And then through that work study job, they would earn money through a biweekly paycheck, and that money would be directly deposited into the student's bank account. So work study funds are not applied towards the student's university bill. Again, they're always directly deposited into the student's bank account, and then the student can choose how do they want to use those funds. The benefit of working in a work study position is that any wages earned through a federal work study job are excluded from wages reported on your free application for federal student aid. So when you file your FAFSA each year, it looks at your income and helps calculate that into kind of your overall financial picture. But when it is calculating any funds or any earnings from those work study jobs, it's going to automatically exclude those wages from what is reported on your FAFSA. If you do not have work study on your financial aid offer, that does not mean you can't work on campus. Any student who wants to work on campus at Iowa State is able to work on campus. There are over 10,000 student employment positions across Iowa State's campus, and of those 10,000, about 1,500 of those students are actively employed in work study positions. So again, the majority of students working across Iowa State's campus are not in work study positions. If you are looking for jobs here at Iowa State, you can apply for those jobs online through Sci-Hire, which is our student job board. That will open on May 15th for the 24-25 academic year. So if you've already registered for your fall classes, you would be able to access the Sci-Hire for jobs starting May 15th. If you have not yet registered for your fall classes and you register for those fall classes after May 15th, you would then be able to access Sci-Hire once you've registered. If you are planning to work on Iowa State's campus this fall, remember to bring original I-9 documents with you to complete the hiring process here at Iowa State. Examples of your I-9 documents are things like your Social Security card, your birth certificate, or your passport. Again, you need those original copies. They can't accept scanned copies to start kind of the employment process here at Iowa State. If you want to learn more about working on Iowa State's campus, or what it means to be a student employee, you can learn more online at studentjobs.iastate.edu. So kind of thinking about what are some next steps you may need to take in terms of financial aid here at Iowa State. First, you would want to complete any financial aid action items. So you would check for this in, again, your Admissions My Account web portal. And in your financial aid section, if you see a button that says financial aid action items, you would want to go in there and check that and turn in anything that is being requested of you as soon as possible so that we can make sure your financial aid eligibility is accurate. If you do not see a section labeled financial aid action items in your Admissions My Account, then that means there's nothing that you need to do. There is no action you need to take, and so you are good there. You will need to make sure you report any outside private scholarships to Iowa State. So if you've received any scholarships from your hometown, local community organizations, things like that, you do want to make sure that you report those to Iowa State so we can get those added to your financial aid offer, and as well as so that we are aware of what scholarships we can expect for certain students. You would do this through Workday, which is our student information portal here at Iowa State. And when you log into Workday, you would search in the search bar at the very top of the screen, create request. Once that opens, then you would enter, or you would type in report private scholarships, and that will pull up the form that would allow you to report any of those outside scholarships that you may have received to us here at Iowa State. You can accept, reduce, or decline your federal student loans. So you can, again, do that in Workday. You do have the ability to do this now, but we do encourage students to maybe make those decisions later in June once you've had a little bit more time to look at your aid offer and look through all of your options and what your costs may be. If you are borrowing a federal student loan for the very first time, you will need to go out to studentaid.gov and complete what's called your master promissory note and entrance counseling. These are required the very first time you borrow a federal student loan. So if you've borrowed a federal student loan in the past, you do not need to complete the steps online at studentaid.gov again. All you would need to do is complete the step in Workday where you accept, reduce, or decline those loans. If you, again, have not borrowed, you would complete that master promissory note, entrance counseling, and then you would complete those steps in Workday. If you have questions about your financial aid offer or your financial aid in general, there are a couple different ways you can contact the financial aid office to get your questions answered. Students with an active NetID, which is again your Iowa State email address. So if you've set up your Iowa State email address, you can schedule an appointment with the Office of Student Financial Aid through Navigate Student, which is our online scheduling platform here at Iowa State. You can access that online at cyclones.navigate.eab.com. And that, again, would allow you to schedule that appointment at a time that works best for you. So you can make sure that you're scheduling that appointment when you have the time and then when our staff have the time to devote those that appointment length to you. You can also email us at financialaid@iastate.edu. And we do our best to answer all of our email inquiries within 24 to 48 business hours. So again, that's a great way to get your questions answered by our office. You can also give us a call at 515-294-2223. Right now, just kind of with the time of the year it is a little bit busier if you call us. So make sure you allow extra time in your schedule for waiting on hold to get through to one of our advisors. But once you get through, we'll be able to answer any questions that you could have. But again, if you kind of want to make sure that you don't have to be on hold, you don't have to kind of wait around, you can, again, schedule that appointment directly with us through Navigate to ensure it works for your schedule. If you just want to learn more about different types of financial aid or different financial aid programs or policies, you can learn more about that on our website at financialaid.iastate.edu. Next, I will turn this over to our friends from the Office of Admissions for just a few updates and reminders from them.
Great, thank you, Isaac. Hi, everyone. My name is Susie DeMoss, and I am joining you here from the Transfer Center at Iowa State University, along with a couple of my colleagues, Kat and Cassidy, who are in the room as well. And we are excited that you joined in today to get all this great information about your financial aid award and how to dig into that a little bit more. We know that we're hearing from transfer students every day with two big questions. One, learning about their financial aid, and two, how do I register for classes? So I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes here to walk through those next steps for you on your admission and enrollment side of things, and how you can get to the point of registering for your fall classes. And it all starts with accepting your offer of admission. So we know by virtue of the fact that you're attending the webinar that you have been offered admission to Iowa State and potentially have accepted that offer. So congratulations on your offer for fall of 24. We're very excited to have you joining us. Next step, if you haven't done so, like I said, you can go ahead and go into your My Account, your admissions My Account online, and you can accept that offer of admission. There's going to be a button there that says accept that offer. A part of that process is to pay your acceptance fee. So that's all going to be done right online there. Taking that action is really going to launch you into those next steps, which will send you an email probably the very next day to register for your orientation. That can be either in person or online. So a couple of things about that. I'm going to dig into what your orientation options are, but kind of a note on prior to attending orientation. One of the things that's going to be most helpful to get you registered for those classes smoothly will be to make sure we've received an official transcript from all of your former institutions. So we know many students go through the enrollment or the application process with unofficial transcripts, which has worked great. But in order to actually have your advisor be able to view those courses you've taken or are even taking now, it needs to come through on an official transcript. So that's a really important key piece to remember that's going to be helpful for that process. So that is when the time comes that you register for classes. You will do your orientation during that piece, or at the end of it, you'll be meeting with an academic advisor, and that's when you register for classes. While you're thinking about all of that, just a note about that acceptance fee. If you decided to go ahead and accept your offer today and pay your fee, or in the next few days, you still have a week or so where you've got a little bit of it's okay to change your mind, because you'll get a refund of the majority of that fee. So that $365 refund, the deadline is May 20th for that change. So I'll go ahead and dig in a little bit more on the next slide with some additional details about transfer student orientation. You're going to have a couple of options when you see that email inviting you to register for an orientation. You'll have two on-site options. Our remaining dates are May 29th and July 1. So those happen right here on campus, a one-day program. As I said, if you attend on site, you will actually meet with your advisor as a part of that day, and you'll be registering for classes with your advisor. If you choose to do the online option, that's completely fine as well. You'll go through some modules in that orientation, and at the end of that, you'll get some information about how you connect with your advisor and get registered for those fall classes. One more time, I'll mention, registering for fall classes will really require those official transcripts. So you can go ahead and have those sent today. Even if you still have in-progress courses, that official transcript allows advisors to see the courses. We'll make the benefit of the doubt and say you're going to pass them, no problem. So we'll be able to see what classes you've got coming so that they can move you forward to the next level of your coursework. So that's how that works. If you do, or when you do go through your orientation, there are many other details you'll be learning about. Of course, Iowa State's going to be just different from wherever you've attended before. You can get some other kind of business items done, like receiving your ISU card that gets you access to all kinds of things on campus. You will also hear more about Destination Iowa State, which is the big event, the big welcome to campus that happens right before classes start in August. That is a big event, but you'll note that when you're attending, you're going to break down into some small transfer specific teams. And it's a great way to meet people that are also starting at Iowa State as a transfer student, learn more about how to find things on campus, about the SciRide bus system. Part of your day, we hope, will be stopping by the transfer center where we'll get to greet you again. So those are all really helpful pieces as you find your new home here at Iowa State, and Destination Iowa State can help you kind of feel at home a lot more quickly. So we are still going to be in here a few minutes, and if you've got questions for us in admissions or financial aid, please do feel free to use that Q&A. We're happy to help. And after that, you can always find us online. Your transfer admissions counselor is noted in your My Account as well, so you can reach out with any remaining questions. And that's what I had to offer. And Isaac, if you've got any closing comments, I'll turn it right back over to you. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you all so much for attending our webinar today. This is all the material that we have to go over. So again, we will stick around for a few more minutes. If you do have any lingering questions, feel free to enter those in the Q&A section now. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to learn more about financial aid and admissions here at Iowa State.